Okay, buckle up. We're now getting into the secret space program. This is a really divisive subject because so many aspects of it are way out there. But once again, I encourage you to give it at least a fair amount of your attention before just denying it being possible altogether. Now, if you're wondering, as any reasonable person would be, how could there possibly be a secret space program? It was actually super easy, barely an inconvenience. The Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the CIA, NASA, they're all compartmentalized, right? So people who are right next door to each other have no idea what their neighbor's working on. The entire system is set up for secrets. Any mission, any resource, any program can be classified under in the interest of national security. And that's it. End of story. No soldier, no politician, no journalist, no reporter can go near it, right? And anytime anything happens to get out, something that was witnessed or shared, it's just going to be called a conspiracy theory, a term that the CIA really embraced and put out there in the late 1960s to dismiss any information that went against the mainstream narrative, right? And that's been so successful because regular people do the work, because nobody wants to be ridiculed or dismissed or fired for questioning what they're told or, thinking for ourselves. So I can come back to it and say, look, I dismissed what I was hearing at first because there's so many big leaps of what I thought I knew to be possible. But over time, once again, the research and the corroboration, it all just painted this very clear picture. So going forward, get ready to hear about deep underground military bases, genetic manipulation, portals, cloning, intergalactic trade, messing with time, Nazis, ETs. I mean, look, honestly, the thing that ended up becoming most helpful to me, and I'm sure it will be for you too, is a lifetime of being familiar with science fiction. Books, movies, shows, classics like War of the Worlds, Ender's Game, Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, whatever shows or stories or sci-fi that you got into, that's going to be helpful here. Basically, there's like this shift that just goes from pure science fiction to realizing, oh, there's less fiction than I thought. And that was helpful. What also makes this subject really hard, once we get past the believability of it all, is really dark and grim. Okay, that's another reason why it's a really tough subject. It's full of subjugation and abuse. That's essentially torture with like the MK Ultra program, enslavement. Although on the plus side, there's medbed technology, which should be reaching us pretty soon, and that will completely change the healthcare system. Fortunately, though, the cruel and twisted parts of it are essentially in the past, okay? Learning about the SSP is really more about learning history from mid-20th century till fairly recently. And the effort to make this whole program public really happened in 2017 with the unveiling of Space Force. So I'll just close out here with the reminder of things that we already know, which is that the government is supposed to work for us. The military is supposed to protect us. Learning about this program reveals that has not entirely been the case, okay? But by empowering ourselves with this knowledge, it paves the way for us to change the system so that we can be sure it does what it's promised to do, to serve our needs and protect us as its citizens.